Thank you so much, Khyati. It's an exciting set of entrepreneurs to have on your panel. And our topic is Baptized by Crisis. Indian entrepreneurs have showed in the last 11 months that we can be resilient, we can be agile, and we can be sustainable in terms of how we run businesses. To me, the last 11 months have been about agility, it's about resilience, and it is about moving from valuations to profitability, making your enterprises sustainable. So I'd like to start by asking each one of you, how did you showcase agility, resilience, and making your business profitable in the last 11 months? Let me start with Mohit first and go around the house. Mohit.
Hi, Ralph. Thanks for having me. It's been a very, very interesting year for us. I think if I just step back, early March, the first thing of course, it was sent our entire team home, right? Pre-lockdown, we had started thinking about how we'll start to manage for that. So that made a big difference. Just that the simple things like our tally does not work off-site. Right? There were simple things that had to get solved, right? That had to be moved to the cloud and things like that. So we changed that first, got people to work from home and safe. We took a massive haircut on everything possible, right? Line by line. We actually had a new finance head who joined us 2 weeks in advance of his joining. So we preponed and we took a massive haircut, cut down costs. Retail, we were going and working with doctors very closely as the Moms Co, where we create products for moms and babies. So we changed that model and shut it down because no one was visiting doctors anymore. In parallel, I think what worked well for us, we created 3 scenarios. We actually created a scenario where what happens if things don't open at all up to December? What happens if things stay as is and go back to normal? And in fact, what happens if things accelerate on e-commerce? We saw acceleration on e-commerce, and what helped was we looked at all 3 scenarios and figured more money would help. So we raised money. And essentially what we've been doing that through the rest of the year is after we have taken massive haircuts, start very quickly ramping up spends in the places where moms are going and shopping, right? So today we're at a place where, we are more than 2x the run rate of pre-COVID. And that's more profitable than we were pre-COVID. And that's all come because, we took a line by line view of where is it that moms are really coming, spending their time, willing to spend their money. And they're all looking for natural toxin-free options. We just had to be wherever they were.
Okay. Thank you, Mohit, for giving us a realistic slice of how you kind of got baptized through the crisis, through the pandemic. Let me go to Sakshi now. Sakshi, your business is in a sector that really suffered in pandemic. You provide technology and software to the hospitality industry. And in the last 10, 11 months, that's one industry that suffered, and in first 4 months of the lockdown, it practically went to zero revenue. So it'd be interesting in those times, how were you able to sell more software? How were you able to get your subscription payments from your customers? And you literally got baptized through the crisis.
Hey Anurag, thanks for having me here. As you said, right, restaurant and the hospitality industry was the most affected. So we were the first ones to be affected and we were the worst ones to be affected. So back in March, we started seeing early signs. I'll say back in February, we started seeing early signs because we as a company are pretty global. India has been the primary market for us, but we started seeing pandemic getting hit, conferences getting cancelled in Southeast Asia. And we were like, okay, there's something that's coming our way, but we don't know what. And by March, we went voluntarily work from home just for the safety of our team on 10th of March, even before it was declared by the government. But we never expected it to be that bad as it was. And as you said, right, like most of the other businesses, we saw 0 revenue days. And that was a realization.
I want to tell you a company like Maruti, which is so profitable, which has every month, every quarter, every week for the last 20 years grown. In April, it was their first 0 revenue month since their existence. So, of course, hospitality was a different kind of a situation.
But giants like Maruti and, every other sector saw it. And for us, so I have been an entrepreneur for the last 11 years, right? I've never seen a 0 revenue day. I never thought that it's even possible, right? So March for Persist, it's our highest month in the entire financial year, because April is when a lot of restaurants switch to a new software, the new billing series start. So for us, my focus being a chief revenue officer at Fosys, I think we were planning for a massive sales trip in April this year, because our forecasts were great. And I mean, no, not only those forecasts never fell, whatever renewals were also planned. I mean, none of them happened because restaurants shut. So yeah, I mean, long story short, March, April were really, really tough. They came to us, but one thing that helped was that the team came really together. We took massive pay cuts. We sent few people on sabbatical. We were very sure. So when the entire world declared it to be a doomsday for the hospitality industry, I think our question was still when, because there was no visibility into how much do we have to plan into. And being a bootstrapped company, we've never raised funds, right? We did not even have a huge buffer in our bank accounts, right? That, okay, I have a 9-month runway, I have a 12-month runway. I remember, one of our well-wisher, founder of another tech company, he called us, how much runway you have, how many months? And we did not have an answer. I mean, because whatever we had, we were sure it's not enough. For sure, right? And also, again, being a bootstrap businesses, whatever revenue we get, we invested back in the business. So, in view of global expansion, I had already booked 10 plus international exhibitions for 2020, for which I had already paid advance.
No, I
was like, now I need
Sakshi,
to collect it back.
You should come to the BW hotelier events, and you will get all the hoteliers and restaurants there. But clearly, but one thing you are emphasizing, and which I say is very important for an entrepreneur, being one myself and having lost all my hair being an entrepreneur, I can only say that that one of the biggest qualities entrepreneurs have, and the ones that can deal with ambiguity, that can deal with uncertainty. This was truly, we've been using the term VUCA for a decade, but the last 10 months have been literally VUCA. This is the 11th month of a really VUCA environment. I mean, the word VUCA was invented possibly for pandemic. So the ability to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty is what makes an entrepreneur who he or she is, because they have nerves of steel. We are always optimistic about the future. I am always optimistic about the future. That's how I'm built. That's how I acquired Business World 7 years back, and we've turned it into a multi-platform company. That's how I started my first company, Exchange4Media, which is a leader in its space and been profitable for the last 14 years. And I don't run that company, it's an auto. So clearly, these things happen when you believe that the future is better. And clearly, in your case, you didn't know when the pandemic would end and the restaurants would come back into operation. So to be able to deal with ambiguity is a very high attribute that comes into play for almost all of us. Let me bring Rachit into the conversation. Rachit, now financial technologies, fintech as we call it, financial inclusion as a theme has been around for many, many years. And the last 6 budgets of this government have been around financial inclusion. They have been social budgets. But really, we are underbanked, we are underpenetrated. Our disbursement of loans for the kind of population we have is low. So clearly, digital adoption in terms of payments, in terms of the whole value cycle, may have helped you and your company. But when the pandemic started, you were not sure of where you're going. How did you deal with it?
So thanks for having me here, Anurag. So firstly, pandemic was the first time I experienced that challenging environment really drives innovation in you. I could see my entire team thinking amazingly out of the box all of a sudden. Everybody started wearing an entrepreneur hat, so as to say. And when this happened, when the lockdown news actually came in, we had a Zoom call on the day one. And I told them that, being optimistic, we don't have money in the bank account. I really want to help you. I have X amount of saving. We were always bootstrapped. Now we need to do something to actually sort of increase our revenue base during lockdown so that everybody gets paid. I told them, believe you me, whatever amount I have in my savings, I will pay to you guys so that you don't take the heat. I am there to support you, but we all need to think like entrepreneurs. Anurag, 2 things happened. Firstly, everybody started giving me great suggestions, and we have been working on our proprietary technology since last 18 months. We were not able to get it live somehow because, when you are working in a normal environment, you actually don't give priorities to change. all of a sudden, that proprietary technology became a game changer. We enrolled 300 agents pan-India in a span of 12 days on our platform, and we told them through virtual conferences, let's start driving business digitally. And from 13th day, we could actually see the money coming into our accounts. So I remember it was around 7th April, and we were through for our salaries. So that was a big win for us. Second, what happened, everything was shut. But we realized that the stock markets are still open and the stock markets are working every single day. And being into fintech, into financial services, I actually acquired a running company, and I told him, look, we have a set base of customers who either take money from us or are looking to invest their money. We acquired that algorithmic trading company called AlphaBot. From 14th day onwards, that did amazing wonders to us, and we could sail through the difficult time. But today, if I see last 7-8 months, I think we have probably grown twofold easily, just because this pandemic happened. We have got all the unique products with us. People are approaching us to just take the license, forget the business and distributionship. Big brands have started approaching us just to get our tech piece for the algorithmic trading. And we were able to generate close to 40% return for our customers last 7 months. And 40% is insane. We could never think that was possible. It is just that the markets were really volatile. And with volatility, our high frequency algorithm could, have a lot of funds for us as well as for our customers. So that's how we actually grew. And honestly, I don't know if I should be thankful to this challenging time, but it worked out pretty well for us as a group company.
I can so relate with you, Rachit. I have lots of friends who are entrepreneurs in my role, both as Exchange for Media and Business World. I meet entrepreneurs on a daily basis, interact with them, and last 2 months I've met them physically also, maybe 300 of them in the last 2 months. Of course, before that, I was a little cautious in meeting people. So you're absolutely right. While we are mindful of the lives and livelihoods that were lost in the last 10 and a half, 11 months, I think for a lot of us, we went back to basics. We took decisions faster. We took decisions that we were sitting on. We asked all the right questions. We questioned every driver of the business. So I think that has helped all of us. It doesn't matter what sector you are in, whether you're funded or you're, bootstrapped, whether you are self-funded and owned by the family. It doesn't matter. Whatever business you were, you went back to the basics and you put your energy in getting the basics right. You're right. The team members, the colleagues were more forthcoming in ideas, innovative ideas in their contributions. I think that, again, I can see that pattern across sectors and across various life stages of different entrepreneurs. So clearly, it resonates well. Let me bring in the other two entrepreneurs who we've not brought into the conversation. We have Mr. Kurma, who runs Wellverse Wealth, and we have Mr. Malik, who runs a luxury brand in Da Milano. Mr. Malik, let me first bring you in. Again, retailing soft footfalls coming down. People started focusing on essentials and not the luxury bit. So how did you make sure that you stayed the course and you thrived?
So this was quite a journey. Last 8 months have been equal to my learning in last 8 months have been equal to my learning in last 20 years, probably, I would say. And we had to change our gears. We have to shift our gears virtually on everyday basis. And as the time was passing, and so I'll start from February. We were. It was all in the news that Wuhan, China has been affected, and the retail has been affected. They're under lockdown and all that. And then we never thought that in India, shops could shut down, but our transport would shut down. We had stores at the airports, at almost 20-25 stores in all the Indian metro airports, and never thought that airports would also actually shut down. But anyhow, the lockdown happened, and then we had no clue what to do, because we were hardcore we had physical stores, and online was a very limited portion of our revenue. And so I have always been a strong believer in touch and feel kind of a thing, and leather per se and luxury is mostly touch and feel. But as the lockdown happened, we guys didn't know anything. We used to I used to speak to my teams every day. We were not used to Zoom calls or any sort of digital meetings. It was because all our lives we have been doing physical meetings. But we had just finished with our end of season sale, and we were about to launch our new season spring collection, and which has just hit the stores for almost 10 days. And after those 10 days, everything was shut. Typically, when you launch a new season, you buy a new collection, and then you have to make your payments within a month cycle, and everything came to a standstill. And then everybody supported us. Gradually, then the movement when the government started opening the home deliveries and the online deliveries started to happen, that gave us a window to ramp our digital side. I still remember a day when we first day when we started our deliveries, our server collapsed. We never had such large strong server, because we were never into online in a big way. And that gave us a big shift. So we took special permission from our mall developers to pull out some stocks from the stores, and we brought it back, started deliveries. And that was the time when we again, started getting back. And since Damilano has a great loyalty in the market, so we were blessed that customers could come back to us, and they started buying online. Then another big challenge in front of us was to what would malls do, when would malls open, how would customer react, how would be the first few months when things would get back, because the scare of the pandemic was so huge that the footfalls in the malls are really skewed, and we had to really kind of send messages and do some social digital marketing that we are safe. That's how we are sanitizing our products. These are it's completely like a hand-free kind of a shopping. So a lot of marketing activities were planned and were done. But fortunately, as a brand, we could bounce back. We have, and today I feel that if you've got a strong product, great quality, and a customer loyalty across the years, today as a brand, I would boast that we've reached to our pre-COVID levels. And that's a very, very positive sort of a sign that we bounced back, and we've lost those 6 months, but then I think that had to happen.
Great. Again, when I'm talking to each one of you, I think I resonate with what you are doing. I can experience it. I believe it by conviction with what you are saying. I was not in your position, but I can kind of imagine what you did. And again, one of the key things you said at the end is, a lot of businesses were primarily digital, whether it's a technology business that Sakshi runs, or it is a, financial investment, trading algorithm and a technology platform that Rachit provides, or it is product that, the mom's company makes. They went D2C, they went direct to consumer, digital to consumer. Especially in retail, for a lot of brands, while physical retail was big, online retail was smaller, depending on what brand you're on, what sector. I think one of the things is, while keeping the physical retail broadly where it was, at least today in some categories and some players, online has been the add-on. It has been a topping. It has, and in a lot of cases, the success that a lot of brands have seen online has spurred them to kind of go online more aggressively, invest in being D2C in a true sense. So clearly, that online business that you added on is something that you got because of COVID, and as you said, you streamlined your business, you went back to basics. I think that's a theme you'd hear when you talk to any entrepreneur who's been able to pivot around his or her business. So let me bring in Anand Khurma. Anand, both your first name and second name are unique. So clearly your
Thanks.
parents are very, very innovative, okay? The first Anand and it's the first Kurma I met. In fact, throughout the jury meet, we had problems with your name because we discussed the names multiple times. I mean, I do juries at least twice a week in some part of my, editorial communities. And we do it very honestly, and our jury process is supreme. Even if I believe in somebody, I can shortlist them, I can vote for them. But if there is a discomfort in the jury about someone, and sometimes it does exist, we go by it. So your name was discussed multiple times. We'll see in the evening what happened with your name. But because the list is not publicly out, you may have been informed individually for those who are in the list. But the list is not yet out. It will be out at 8:30 when all the winners have been announced. So Anand, I want to talk to you about the fact that how did your business get baptized throughout this crisis?
Yeah, thanks, Anurag. Just to set a little context before I move into the learnings that we had. So, although we are a digital first brand, but we do own a production manufacturing facility, and we have a very intricate supply chain that enables, fulfillment of very specific nutrition and specialized food products. Yeah. So, when the lockdown was going to be announced, so we got to know of it a little earlier, around 17th, 18th March. And we knew that, even if the lockdown wasn't announced, just having labor commute from the kind of places that they live in to the manufacturing facility, which is supposed to be extremely hygienic, we saw several red flags around it. So we created an entire arrangement. We own an entire building in Udyog Vihar where we have our manufacturing. So we created an entire ecosystem within that building so that all the labor can stay within that building. No one was allowed to go out of there. So we kind of stocked up on food products and all that things for 1 month. So everyone was staying within the premises. The production was going on, and so we saw great enthusiasm among people to keep the operations going and stuff like that. So I think two learnings, and two of it both stem from the same kind of thing. One is, I think agility has been talked about a lot. Typically when it's said that startups are very, very agile and things like that, I think that agility is talked about in a very, very narrow spectrum. Typically it's talked about in the sense that you're not growing, you experiment on the product market fit and stuff like that, but the spectrum is very, very narrow. And I think the spectrum of agility that we saw during the lockdown expanded at least tenfold, because now you had to be agile not only on the product market fit front, but every other front. How you manage your team, how you structure your meetings, and like every other operation, right? And second thing is, I think a huge focus for all early stage entrepreneurs is on the top line, because that's how you get funded, that's how you showcase where you are in the game, right? And I think what suddenly started happening was that you were forced to think about the bottom line and the metrics that really, really mattered, down to the fact that what your delivery times are, how many products are in the pipeline which haven't been delivered, and those nitty-gritty metrics which really improve the customer experience. And now those thinking has been embedded as entrepreneurs, not just within the founders but within the entire team. So I think that is one of the best things which has happened.
Fantastic. Anand, what I would also like to know from you is, very importantly, what was the impact it had on your business? Give us some numbers. So both in terms of turnover and profitability. Give us, you may not be able to give exact number, but through some sense of what was the impact of you going back to all these things that you just shared with us.
So as I mentioned earlier, like most of the entrepreneurs, our focus was also on the top line, and we had higher marketing spends just to improve the reach and stuff like that. When the lockdown was announced, there was very less clarity for e-commerce platforms on which listings could be on, which listings could be off, right? And the delivery partners were really impacted because they didn't have permission on stuff like that. So one thing that suddenly happened was that our marketing budget we didn't know where to spend it, right? And because even if we, let's say, we did social media promotions, or we did promotions on Amazon, the delivery channels were impacted. So even if we were selling by promoting our products, it wasn't going to be that useful, right? So what we saw was immediate impact in terms of organic uptake of the products. We saw repeat purchases spiking up, people who were aware of the brand coming. So let's say we were spending 20% of the sales on marketing budget. So all of that was being saved for us, and then we started spending those in other, useful initiatives.
Okay, let me go back. Now we talked about nitty-gritty of the business. We talked about, I want to move gears and I want to move into the philosophical lessons that all of you learned. For example, I learned, and I try to simplify things, is one, less is more. Never say never. A lot of times we say, I have this discussion with my wife and she's always pushing me to reduce costs. And I tell her, this is not possible. We are at the best cost of, we can't go down on cost. But when you look closely, you can go down on the cost also. There are things that you can, and I think of in terms of revenue. For me, cost is a given, I'm always thinking of revenue. So sometimes I can be, a little extravagant in cost, but less is more, never say never. Third, my lesson was, ask questions of yourself. Why are you doing it? What is your purpose? What do you want to achieve? Fourth is, very importantly, it's a philosophical lesson, is even in this, as you all shared, there were positives that you were able to find in your business. What were the positives? And last but not the least, is that, at the end of the day, I keep saying we are in a 3C economy, a collaborative, contactless, and a compassionate economy. So we have to reimagine our businesses in the context of these 3Cs. How can we be more collaborative? How can we be more contactless? That may mean digital, virtual. And how do people are even more important, whether external or internal, because, we may not meet each other, but even on the screen, there may be compassion. I know compassion as a term is more in a physical space, but even in a virtual space, you can have compassion for someone. So tell us, what are your top philosophical lessons? For example, I keep saying that whenever it rains, look for rainbows. Whenever it's dark, look for stars. And there are enough rainbows and stars in this, otherwise very dark cloud in a very dark night, so to say. So give us your philosophical lesson. Let me start with Rachit, you this time, and then I'll go around the house. You'll have to unmute yourself as the finance minister unmutes the economy on Monday. Before that, you have the onerous task of unmuting yourself.
Yes. So, Anurag, the first thing I realized was keeping things simple goes a long way. I realized all my structures, whether it's incentives or whether it is for the customers, over a period of time, as the organization grows old, everything gets too complicated. So I realized keeping things simple, which is understandable to the customers and to your team, will take you a long way. Secondly, we always make products thinking that, okay, this is the target market. This lockdown, we realized that algorithmic trading platform is our first venture, which is a global venture. We designed the product in a way thinking, let's focus the entire world instead of just India. Let's roll it out, although starting from India, but why not we can make a product which is totally scalable. Before this pandemic, we actually did not leverage technology, although we called ourselves a fintech platform. But to be honest, the pandemic made us realize we are still not leveraging technology to our bestest of capacity. It was only now everything is driven through technology. And Anurag, you'll be surprised, we have come up with our own in-house virtual office. So if as a guest you would like to come, we have also announced it across social media. You do not need to visit us physically. It's Corona, we all know it. This is our virtual office address, where when you click on it, you will be greeted by a receptionist. She will ask you, whom do you want to meet? It is actually integrated with a Zoom platform only, and that person can actually talk to you and sort out all your queries. Moreover, it shows you the entire office. Now, that thing has not only been impactful as far as customers are concerned, we are now able to get talent from remote areas pan India. And believe you me, the real talent lies in small towns. I mean, the kids are phenomenal. We cannot ask them to relocate, and we are just given them a virtual office and tell them you're a part of our company. Let's get the best use of it. And they are very happily working from, people from Jaipur, people from smaller places also. They have joined and got on board with us without any physical presence. Plus, I think we have also got a grip on cost cutting to some extent. We are against brick and mortar. We feel everything can be done from technology standpoint. Although there are certain things where you need to be present physically because we all are social animals, but to achieve scale, virtual technology driven organization is something which we believe in, and our entire vision has changed in last 10 months.
Great. I told you I'm a very physical person. In the sense, I have to meet a colleague also. I would go back to their workstation, talk to them, call them in the conference room. I have to hire a trainee, I would meet a trainee. Of course, senior people I would like to spend. But, I realized it is possible to hire virtually because my business is all about people. There's no technology. Of course, technology is an enabler in every business, but it's, bots don't write stories. I mean, they do write. These days, that bots are writing stories. But, I need real people who can do editorial work or sales or events or research, So I have started to hire. I have hired 10 odd people in the last 10 months. Virtually. I'm able to do most of my meetings virtually. So that mindset, I still welcome physical meeting, face-to-face interactions, and they have their own charm. But at least I have the choice now to be able to do more virtual engagements and get what needs to be done. We're doing this panel virtually. Let me ask you, Sahil, what are your top lockdown lessons? Sahil Malik? Sahil, can you hear me? While we get Sahil, I'll come to you, Sakshi. What are your top lockdown lessons?
I think for us, what we realize is that customer is your best friend, right? So whatever you need to, so as an organization, we say that we've been customer centric always, but these are the times when you need to choose between your survival and your customer, supporting your customer. So one thing which we thought was that never take short-term, never take short-term decisions, right? Never take decisions, which can affect your long-term relationships. So your customer is your best friend. Listen to him, listen to his needs, and be there when he is. For example, I can tell you as a company where we had zero revenues, right? And there was no visibility of when things are coming back. But at the same time, we also saw that our customers also have zero revenue, right? Restaurants were shut. And for a lot of customers to switch to online and to get into the D2C side, it was taking time, right? So what we did was that we actually gave a 150-day rebate to all our customers on their renewals. We did not charge them for the time they were under lockdown, right? That meant compromising on our revenue, but we knew that this short-term 5 months revenue sacrifice will give us a customer for lifetime, right? So we truly believe that, invest in relationships. Don't think about money. I think money will come back if you serve your customers well and you be very close to them. Second thing, I think as entrepreneurs and any business, one thing we cannot ignore is change. Change is the only constant, right? We all live in. So as an organization, you should be very, very, ready to change, willing to change, willing to adapt to new technologies, willing to adapt, to new circumstances. Another thing what we did is when we had a chat with our team back in April, what we told them ki guys, business gaya hai abhi, band nahi hua hai, right?
Like that.
And we need to make sure that वापस आएगा. We believe in our product, we believe in our customer, we believe in whatever we've been doing for last 9 years. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि overnight industry खत्म हो जाएगी या हम खत्म हो जाएंगे. सब कुछ वापस आएगा. And now what we need to make sure that this 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, whatever it takes, we need to make sure we have to hibernate. We don't have to die. we have to come out stronger, right? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए जब हम बाहर आ रहे हैं तो हमारा लंग नहीं है, हमारा किडनी चला गया है और अब हम अपने कस्टमर्स को we can't service, right? तो उनको सर्विस करना है हमें, right?
Yeah,
We
so
need
you
to
have
come
to stay
together.
mentally happy and so I'm stopping you, Sakshi. I told my co-founder who runs E4M, I told him, Naval, this is the time to build relationship. This is not the time to do business. Strengthen relationship, doesn't matter. We're in this business long term. And that's what I told all my colleagues, that we are in the business of relationships. It matters. And, be genuine in them, be sincere, understand what, trust people, trust your partners. Because, so pandemic for a lot of businesses strengthened relationships.
Absolutely.
They deepened relationships. And it will have a business impact at some stage.
No, absolutely. And I can tell you, Anurag, a lot of our customers understood that, right? And there were months they actually started paying on their own. We had voluntary renewals that started coming in from May, right? Because we were not calling, right? Our account management team was told that, you don't have to call for renewals. We also built a new product, into QR code ordering. As consumers, we are all using, ordering in fine dine. We told them, this product is available to you. You can pay whenever you want. And make sure we are there with you as your partners in this tough time. So relationships should never be estimated, I think. And last thing is with the team, make sure you invest with your relationship in the team also. One thing which me and my co-founder talked was and to other entrepreneurs, this is the time when whatever you've invested in your team will come back, right? आपने जिनके साथ जैसा व्यवहार किया है, इस समय दिखेगा वो आपके साथ आके कैसे खड़े होते हैं, right? And I can tell you, we were fortunate enough, and I can share so many emails and messages which I got from my team even before we announced pay cut or went back to them, saying कि मैम मेरा ये खर्चा बच गया है, अब हम घर पे शिफ्ट हो गए हैं, हमारी EMIs आगे हो गई हैं, so we are there with you. So investing in team, investing in customers, and investing in your product, I think that's the only basis on which any businesses can be built and scaled. And to sum it all, I can tell you on revenue side, as on December 2020, as Fosys, even being in the hospitality space, we covered all our COVID losses. So this fourth quarter of this financial year will again be the growth quarter for Fosys. We signed up 10 new global brands in last 10 months. And I think we can't be more fortunate and thankful and grateful.
Okay. Let me bring Mohit into the conversation. Mohit, what are your top lockdown lessons?
It's a great question, Anurag, but I think there are so many. So it's going to be hard to distill to two. The one, and I will reiterate the strength of relationships. And I think for us, whenever we also switched off marketing, and when we said, let's switch marketing back on, the big question we asked ourselves was, what is it that we started the business for, right? We always started to say, we are here to help moms make easy choices. And so interestingly, our first campaign that we did was 21 days of bonding during the lockdown. So we actually re-enabled marketing on day 2. And for 21 days, the only thing we did was we told moms and give them interesting ideas for what to do for 21 days with their kids, right? Because for her at that moment of time, the question wasn't about product. The question was, what do I suddenly do because I have to take care of my home and everyone is at home? This is completely new for everybody, right? And that has gone a long way. Even today, moms come back and said, "Wo March mein aapne kiya tha," right? I remember that because it made such a big impact to my life, right? So just going back for us on purpose and why the brand started and why we got our first few customers was amazing. And I think that made a massive difference to us. The second, I would say, big learning for us, and it's got strengthened over this time, is to question everything, right? So we had recently hired a retail team, and this year was going to be a year of retail. Really, for the first 2 months of the lockdown, we went back to retailers like More and Big Bazaar and the big guys, innovating on their business model. We went back and almost
You're saying
said,
learning from their mistakes.
No, we are actually, I'm saying कि आपने कभी digital first शुरू सोचा है? हम आपको सिखाएंगे क्योंकि हमें आता है. Right? So it was very interesting because the conversation that started was when retail started coming back. all the retailers started coming back and reaching out to us saying, you guys give us very interesting ideas. We're in this new world. Let's innovate and do things together. So what's happened as a result of that is starting June onwards, our retail started ramping up, and December was the highest month for offline retail ever, even as an online brand. And what enabled that was us going out and being partners with each of those retailers and saying, here is what I can come and do together with you. Let's innovate and let's do this together. Right? Let's together question assumptions that we've had about this is how business happens. And that's made a massive difference. So on both fronts, just, customers are now coming back saying, we were there with you and you were there with us during the hard times. And retailers are coming back to us now saying, you guys really came up with very interesting ideas. Let's see kya kar sakte hain.
And just to build on what you are saying, clearly the 3 P's that matter beyond profits is planet, which is sustainability, and I'm talking of environment, is purpose and people. The purpose matter and the people matter, both external and internal. And I think the relationships that needed to be better have got better in the lockdown. As far as sustainability is concerned, I think sometimes we're very arrogant that we'll save planet Earth, we'll save Mother Earth. Who are we to save Mother Earth? Mother Earth will save us, but we can say that we are more conscious of the choices we make, the consumptions we make. The whole movement towards sustainability is kind of driven by that. Now let me go to you, Anand. What were your top lockdown lessons?
So, like Mohit mentioned, I think there were a lot of them. But when the lockdown was announced, one thing I started personally doing as a founder and the CEO was, I started connecting with everyone for 5 minutes, even the people who were working remotely. So at that point, we had 30 people confined in the facility and 30 people working remotely, right? So I made it a point to interact with everyone so that the connect remains there. But what emerged out of it was, I think, amazing. Just connecting with everyone for 5 minutes and, having their thoughts and capitalizing on the collective intelligence. That is something we often read about, and we often are advised that we should do, but we never get to it because it's always the last priority. Okay, we will do that someday, right? But I think that was one of the best learnings, because I was learning about all aspects of business from people at the ground level, and I think that's the best learning I had.
Okay, Sahil, we have you back again, so give us your top lockdown lessons.
Hi.
Sahil Malik?
Yeah, sorry, I lost in between. So, while the lockdown, the first thing during the lockdown,
I think it's Sahil's thing. At least I am not being able to hear him and see him. I mean, I can see him, but I can't hear him very well. And it happens, and we all learn to deal with being spontaneous with it. One of the things is, as I was younger, I read this book called The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. It's saying, being in the moment, give it your best, do what you can do now. For the first time, entrepreneurs started to make plans that were short term. Otherwise, entrepreneurs are ambitious people by nature. They have a to-do list, they have milestones, and when they achieve one mountain, they want to scale the next mountain. It never stops, because what they like is climbing the mountains, of course, getting there. So one of the things I saw with myself and a lot of my friends and people I know well in terms of entrepreneurship is, while there was a long-term goal, we all focused on a very short-term goal and what we could do today and this week. So while we were focused on the long-term, on our purpose of why we are, but I think we became more in the moment, if may. We started doing the best and we left the rest to the world. Now, I want to get a closing comment from each one of you. Each one of your companies are doing well. You were shortlisted to present to the jury from 200 plus entries, and some of you have come close to winning, some of you have won, and you'll know in the evening who's won, who's not. And honestly, the last 60, 70 were very similar. Of course, there were some which were... so you all are doing well. In the next 12 months, what can we see coming out of your companies? What are the milestones you have for yourself and your companies and your businesses? Let me start with Anand first, go to Sahil, and then come to everyone. Anand?
Yeah, Anurag. So, during the lockdown, we heavily gravitated towards a subscription-based model. And although we had been selling standalone products on e-commerce for a while. But what has happened during the lockdown is we have gravitated a lot more towards building an entire experiential journey where we can enable health outcomes for people. And what we see is that not only are the results better, but the lifetime values of the consumer is really, really high, right? And the immediate goal in the next 12 months is to have 50,000 people perpetually subscribed onto the kind of plans that we are creating. So the kind of plans we have is 3 months of transforming your health to a certain level, and then perpetual transformation onto a sustenance range of products that help you maintain your health at that level.
Okay, I'll take you up on that, Anand. I'm very familiar with your nature because I'd be your typical customer.
Sure.
And I've used services like yours. One of my MDI juniors, she runs a business which is a bit like yours, and
Great.
so I need it. So I will talk to you offline.
Sure.
My health is good,
Great.
but I need to be even more healthier.
Great.
So you're saying 50,000 more people impacted by Wellburst in
Correct.
terms of improving their health. That's the goal over the next 12 months.
Correct.
And what number are you impacting right now?
So right now we have around 15,000 people in the loop. Yeah.
So you're talking about 3x to 3, 2.3x growth. So that's a large growth in 12 months.
Correct.
But we know that it is possible with
Correct.
digital adoption and people being more conscious about their health. With
Correct.
these two trends, I think there is a possibility that I'm sure you'll get to your number, but it's a realistic target. Mr. Sahil Malik, what are your milestones that you have for yourself over the next 12 months? When you say yourself, I mean your business, both the businesses. Sahil?
So we have a exhaustive, extensive expansion plan, and I see the market coming back with vengeance, and there's a huge scope of growth in the country, and we are soon launching another label to acquire larger market share, and we have almost about another 15 odd stores in pipeline which we intend to open this year. Our flagship store in Dubai is about to open in the month of March. Last year Dubai was supposed to have 2020 Expo 2020, which has been moved to this year from October. So we look forward for a huge growth this year.
It's a first for a luxury brand from India, totally homegrown, to be in the Dubai Mall, and I'm sure it's a gateway to the world. And clearly,
Yes.
a luxury brand from India is what the world needs. Mohit, what are your plans over the next 12 months? What are the milestones we expect you to see?
So 3 big priority areas for us over the next 12 months. One is we want to again double the business online in India. That's our bread and butter today. Second is we're also going to go from 500 to 2,000 stores offline. We look at 2020 also as a big offline expansion year. As Mr. Malik said, retail is coming back with a vengeance, and we are already seeing that effect, even though a small part of the business is offline. That's second. And third, and what excites me the most is making the Mom School global brand. Right, we've got an incredible number of women reach out to us now from around the world saying, you have very interesting products and solutions that I can't find in my market for pregnancy, post-pregnancy needs. So we're hoping to expand into 1 or 2 countries more through the year.
These are all significant. They seem like very simple, but that to be able to do that kind of growth requires focus. Focus is a lot about saying no also. What we won't do is as much as about saying what we will do as a business and brand.
Right.
Sakshi, what can we expect Posist to be in the next 12 to 18 years?
So for Posist, I think we have 3 different visions and plans for 3 different regions we are into. So in India, where we already work with almost 7 out of 10 enterprises in our space, that our plan is to work with the remaining ones and to take the average revenue per user really high with increasing the wallet share with every customer that we have. That's what I can say for India. Second region for us has been GCC, which we've been building for last 3 years. So the target for next 12 months is to make sure that our GCC revenue, takes over India revenue for us, and we do what we have done in India there. The third target is to get into new markets, especially Europe and UK, which was planned to be launched in 2020 September. So that's something which has moved, and June is where we'll be there opening our office and making sure that at least we create some impact there. We have a list of few brands, so we internally we are chasing top 100 brands for next 12-18 months at least to reach where at least we want to.
My last guest to comment is Rachit. Rachit, what do we expect from you? Because there were at least 5 companies from the space you are in, and their numbers were spectacular. I mean, one was doing 1,000 crore turnover profit this year. The other was about to possibly do a 200 crore profit. And the third one was again significant numbers. I can only say I don't remember the number. Because people are looking to stock markets as an alternate source of income. And I know it personally because my wife has a travel services business, which her father started 40 years back. But of course, last 10 months, there was hardly any business. So she started investing in stock market, and that's become the mainstay. So a lot of new Indians, entered the stock market. We're still very under-penetrated. So the stock market is seeing, Mr. Jhunjhunwala has been talking about 50,000 for 4 years, and a year back we did a cover. We said it will be 50,000. Now he's of course talking of 1 lakh. He's always driving up the market. But your domain itself is expanding. Your market is expanding. New players on the stock market are coming first time. Also, some people are making it their mainstay. So clearly it augurs well for the domain you're in. What are the kind of milestones in terms of numbers you're looking at to create over the next 12 months?
So we have a huge wish list, so to say. But in January, we came up with numbers that, we want to cater to at least 10,000 people in the first month. And that was a benchmark, like a huge benchmark target for rest of the team. However, by 18 January, we could actually touch close to 9,000 people. That's when we realized the market is far bigger, because believe you me, people are withdrawing from mutual funds. Everybody now wants to develop a skill where they can play with their own money and take charge of their investments. And penetration, as you rightly said, because now the internet has penetrated really well. And people don't need those old terminals. They just need a smartphone and they can access the markets immediately. So as a business goal, we want to empower at least 2 lakh lives globally, not just India, globally in next 12 months. And when I say empower them financially, I want to give them good returns using my strategies and want to show them how easy it is to actually control and play the stock markets in a very controlled manner, in a very systematic trading kind of a way, so that they can actually earn their good livelihood out of the stock markets, and they can see their wealth compound as well. So I want to empower them financially over the next 12 months. If I could touch and impact 2 lakh lives, I would be really happy with the result.
Fantastic. These are very good milestones. I wish you luck, and I have no doubt that each one of you will go on to be more impactful, to be able to do more partnership and impact more number of people. As you impact other businesses and individuals, you impact their families. And really, at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is about making an impact, solving problems, and making sure that new ways of doing things create better experiences for each stakeholder. It's not just about making money. Profit is important, sustainability is important, but it's a lot about people. It's a lot about the planet, and it's a lot about the purpose, the why. Why are we an entrepreneur? I know when I was younger, I would go to a lot of conferences and I'd ask this question, tell me why you want to be an entrepreneur. And I'd put out 3 choices. 1, you want to make money, you want to be famous, and third is that you want to make an impact. And I would say, a lot of people would say, they want to make more money, they want to be famous. And there's nothing wrong. We're human beings, we like recognition. If you do it for the right reason, in the right manner, it's welcome. There's nothing. Human beings like recognition. They like a pat on the back. They like to get a validation from peers. It's a desire all of us have. Some have it more, some have it less. but all of us have, and it's nothing wrong. But increasingly, when I ask people, they want to be more famous, they want to make more money, do they want to make more impact? I get young. I'm talking 20-year-olds. I'm not talking of you. Saying that they want to make impact. My daughter is 17. She's an entrepreneur, and already, whenever I talk to her, she values relationships more than she values anything, and that augurs very well for the younger generation. She's already won a TIE business plan competition. To be precise, she came second. She's won an IIT Delhi business plan competition, and she won when she was 14. Her first such competition. So clearly, young people are more conscious of what the future holds, why they want to do something. Doing it is not just important. The why is very important, and I can see the why is to impact people. In your case, I wish you luck. I look forward to seeing you in the evening at the BW Business World 40 Under 40 in association with bwdisrupt.com. We'll have 40 winners. And again, it's been a very tough process. It's been nerve-wracking for me because at least there were another 10 entrepreneurs which I thought should have been in the list. But it's called 40 Under 40, so we had to stick to a 40 list. And, and we spent 4 sittings. I have to tell you, we were only able to close it by 5 p.m. on Thursday, and by 11:30 p.m. get nods from every jury member, right? Just played back to them. So when you see the winners, it's a very rigorous, involved process. The jury members took 10 minutes or 15, 20 in some cases to discuss the person after the person left presenting. So if you're on the list, congratulations. If you haven't made it, in spite of presenting it to the jury, there are 3 winners this year who were shortlisted last year, presented to the jury, did not make it, who are on the list this year. The list has 31 founders who are male, 7 founders who are women, and it has 2 entrepreneurs. So that's the 40. And I can tell you, this year the quality of entries is even. Last year was spectacular. I thought you can't better those qualities. This year was spectacular. It was troublesome in terms of time for us to manage it, but it's a fantastic list. So
but Anurag, I don't know if you remember or not, I got my first award from you. This is 2017, and honestly that really had a great motivation spree on me, because when you get an award, you aspire to do more, you want to get more awards. And really thanks to Business World, because I think to some extent they have been the growth driving factors subconsciously for entrepreneurs like us, because we want to drive for the recognition and to have a positive impact. And I still remember you, the first award and the pep talk you had with me. So thank you for for the great journey we've had so far.
Thank you so much, Rohit. You're being kind. Your journey is yours. It's your destiny. It's your hard work. And I tell you, while I run an enterprise and it's about profitability, all that, I love what I do. I'm very involved in business world. I know each entry that is shortlisted. I know the 40 people, why they are in the list. Right? I remember it. I have written personally to all of you who are in the list, right? And I know it. And I mean, honestly, there are people I don't know and they're not in the list. I only met them during the presentations or when I saw their entries, and I felt they're so good. So, I feel that, we have to do it. I tell my team that we have to do it for the right reason, in the right manner, deeply. We look at every entry, and I feel bad when I leave out someone, but then I told myself, maybe, next year. So what I've also done is about 200 applied, 40 have won. So of course you'll have 2 pages each in the magazine, but the rest 70 that we shortlisted, we normally shortlist 80, we did 110 because I couldn't figure out from the entries what is the difference. So I said at least let them present, because when they present, it becomes even more clear. Though your last slide, which summarizes, is good enough, but it still doesn't give you when the person presents. It's not the same. It is not the same, I can tell you. And there are people who said they had $40 million of profitability, who are on target to, but we didn't get their numbers. We debated. We were up till 2 a.m. One jury member calling me at 1:15, 40 minutes talking to me, and I talked to them, because they give me their time, and that's what, of course, they discover great people. For them, the utilization of time is the fact that they meet new talent, new ideas. Some of them ask for connects with someone of you, and we've connected our jury members. But, next day, I proposed a special mention for a certain person, and 2 of my jury members for it, 5 were against it, so we dropped it. I listen to my jury, I have no. But, I really try to do it in a very honest manner. And I get proposals about sponsorships, about spending with us. Oh, we'll do this. And I said, we'd love to, but honestly, we run our processes differently. And we do it with highest integrity. There can be a human mistake, but we do it with absolute integrity. We are the highest integrity award. I'm sure there are others also, but we do it with integrity. I don't know about others, but it is so transparent. We've recorded everything. We are not liable to share it with anyone, but just in case we need it, we have those deliberations. And the amount of times we tabulate, then do qualitative. And again, I have a point of view on everything. I'm very aware of what's happening. I've been an entrepreneur myself, but our jury members are so accomplished. I believe they're wiser than me. Their intent is good. So we let them decide. Mine is one vote, and I have a point of view. If I knew someone, I said, I know, Anand, or I know Mohit, or I know Sahil, and this is how I know, and this is my relationship, So I put it out that he's a good guy, or this guy is promising, whatever. So I'd say that, being an entrepreneur, I understand. Now that I have a daughter who's a young adult who participates in awards, I understand it even more than, because it's, they give it, you all have given your best, so it has to count. So in the magazine, the 70 that haven't made it, 110 and 40, we've given them some space because that's our way. You present it to the jury. We've included people we could include in our conferences, and we've given it our best, honestly. So I'd leave it at that. I think we're out of time by 5 minutes. Because a lot of people kill me also for not winning. I remember in our legal 40 under 40, one sent me a legal notice, a lawyer. Not that I'm afraid of that, but it's okay. And he sent me, and then then another award happened 2 months later. He participated. He presented. He hasn't won again. I mean, I can't help it. My jury. And I'm not in the legal jury because I don't understand. That's not a domain I have deep knowledge. So, I live with it. We do it honestly. And I've seen all seasons in entrepreneurship. I've seen very tough times because I do things rightly. Do it for the right time. So there can be sometimes temporary disruptions. And, media is a very tough business to be in. So the only thing that differentiates us is our integrity and our honesty. I think that's important. And it's not that we haven't seen tough times, we haven't seen hardship. I've seen all that. And, I'm first generation. My parents are academicians. So, I see things in black and white. I'm middle class. So I think in black and white, not in gray. But in entrepreneurship, not everything is black and white. It is not. But I try and break it down to black and white. So sorry for that, But, I wanted to tell you that we value your time, we value what you do. And it's not just business for us.
Yeah.
Increasingly, I feel that it is a calling to be able to recognize people, to be able to put them together in a group, and it's some way contributing. I mean, today, just before I came for my first panel discussion, I was our legal GC 100. We have a legal community. It's the number one community in a short span of time. And, there were jury members, 5-6 of them are my friends, 2 were not. And my best team that runs that community, Ashima, Garima, and Krishnan, they're extremely sincere, honest people. And the jury for one hour grilled me on why, and I kept answering. I said, this is how it is. It is first year, we've only got that many. You charge a fee? I said, yes, we charge a processing fee. So I said, you know what, we still don't make money, okay, in the first 3 years of any event. But we need to put a filter, and it's also part of our business model. I do things rightly. I mean, I got to pay 300 people's salaries, okay? Right? So we're doing this without a sponsor. It's okay. This year we don't have a sponsor, it doesn't matter. So I'm just saying that we try to do everything through a jury process, and having a jury really helps. I was telling my team, they were at my home last night, and I said the effort that we went through is worth the effort because of the kind of people we have identified to be rewarded tonight. And another 10 people were similar, but we had to have 40. So anyway, back to you, Khati. I can go on about this. I face this every day, and sometimes not able to sleep because certain people don't make it. I don't even know them. I've never met them. I have no interaction, but I feel they should have asked. but one or two jury members sometimes have a point of view which is real, that maybe it is too early, he can get next year or she can get next year, or they have some objection, and then it becomes a process of elimination. So that also happens in awards.
Absolutely.
So
And
back to you,
Dr.
Kathy.
Batra, we could see that, with the passion and rigor that you and your team lead these IPs, it can be seen through the screen as well. So thank you. I'm sure everybody is going to wait to see who is going to be part of this 40 under 40 BW Disrupt list. But right now, I would like to thank all of you, our panelists, for the time and sharing your insights and stories with us. Thank you so much for your time.